Okay, guys, just a little help about degrees of terms and for U. So this is what's going on? This is U2A1. Let's switch over to a different color, and let's talk about degrees. So don't get confused with degrees and triangles and that sort of thing. Okay, so we're not talking about right angles and that sort of thing. It's just a different way to talk about variables and equations. So we're going to start off with looking at variables. What the degree is the value of the exponents in the term. So if I look here, I have 4x, that's really 4x to the 1, so that has a degree of 1. This one here has p to the 4, so this has a degree of 4. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. Okay, you can just ignore the negative 5, so if I had something like cubed, that would have a degree of 3. And the reason we worry about degrees is later on when you look at something like x squared, which has a degree of 2, it's going to have a certain shape. And x cubed will have a certain shape. And x to the 4 will have a certain shape. Okay, so all these things and just x will have a certain shape. So later on, as you go through your math, degrees get important. Where it gets a little more confusing are things like this. If I look here, I have a 4 and I have a 5. What you just simply do is add them up. So this has a degree of 9. Okay, this one here would have a degree of 6. And that's it for single terms. When you have a polynomial, so when you have a bunch of terms like this right here, so 5b, let's look here. So 5b, this is a trinomial, okay? But if I was to ask you what is the degree of this trinomial meaning 3 terms, 1, 2, 3, this has a degree of 2 because the biggest degree of any term is 2. Okay, so if I look at this one here in E, this has a degree of 0. This has a degree of 5, degree of 2, degree of 1. So the degree of this entire polynomial is the strong guy, which is the 5. And again, that comes down to things like this. If I have this, if I graph this, x cubed plus whatever, the shape of an x cubed will be something like this. And what happens in math is the higher degree kind of wins out. Okay, so if I have that sort of thing, you'll learn soon, next year in math, about quadratics, which make parabolas. And one way to write a parabola is in this form, where ax squared plus bx plus c. And you'll notice here I have a term that has a degree of 2, a degree of 1, and a degree of 0. Well, what happens when you talk about this shape is that it has the general shape of something that has a degree of 2. So kind of the big guy wins out. So even though it has an x and it has a 7 there, which are kind of linear things, this x squared will turn it into a parabola. Okay, so the important thing is when you look at something like this, so what's the degree of this? I have 2 and 1. This has a degree of 3. This has 1 and 3. This has a degree of 4, and this has a degree of 0. What you do is you say, which guy is the biggest? This guy is the biggest. Big guy wins. The answer is D. So 7 is D. Okay, and that's all there is about degrees. Okay, hopefully that helps. And this video was made in response to an email. So if you have questions, send me an email.